Welcome back, dear students. Today I am here to explain the poem Geography Lesson, that is the second poem in your MCB textbook, Geography Lesson, written by Zulfikar Ghosh. Before going in detail, let me say a few words regarding Zulfikar Ghosh. Ghosh was born in India before independence, and eventually after independence he settled in Pakistan, and now he resides in the USA. And this poem, Geography Lesson, written by Zulfikar Ghosh, is a poem of 24 lines and does not have any rhyme scheme. You can't find a rhyme scheme. And in this poem, Ghosh talks about three things. Firstly, how everything looks from the sky. And the second thing, how civilization was set up. And lastly, why people hate each other. And the poet says that when he sees the city from a jet, he finds that the cities are not well planned. And he realizes that water is very essential for various activities such as agriculture, transport, business, and so on. And as the jet moves higher, he reflects that people have built boundaries and hate each other. So now I hope you understood about Zulfikar Ghosh and you got the theme of this poem. Now we will go into this poem in detail. Geography Lesson by Zulfikar Ghosh. When the jet sprang into the sky, it was clear why the city had developed the way it had, seeing its scale 6 inches to the mile. There seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard, unplanned and without style when the jet sprang into the sky. Here, in the first stanza, the poet describes the scene of the city from an aeroplane. That is, the scene of the city from a jet which is flying high in the sky. And he says that it became clear to him why the city developed according to the necessity of the people and not as per proper planning. That is, the city is not developed with proper planning. And when the poet looked at the city from the sky, it seemed totally unplanned and unorganized. And it does not have any particular style or design. Here in the first stanza, you can see two new words, inevitability. Inevitability means essential, the most essential thing that cannot be avoided. And next word is haphazard. Haphazard means without any plan or order, that is unsystematic or unplanned or unorganized. We can say that is haphazard. So in the first stanza, we can see how the poet describes the scene of the city while he is in an aeroplane which is flying very high in the sky, and he came to understand that the city has developed in a properly unplanned and unorganized way, and it is not having any particular style or design. Now we can move to the second stanza. When the jet reached 10,000 feet, it was clear why the country and cities, where the rivers ran and why the valleys were populated. The logic of geography that land and water attracted man was clearly delineated when the jet reached 10,000 feet. In the second stanza, the poet says about the incident when the aeroplane flew at the height of 10,000 feet above the ground. And he found out the cities are located near the rivers since people prefer to stay near valleys. And he clearly understood the logic of geography and got to know that people settled on those lands where water is easily available. When you studied about Indus Valley civilization and all, you might have studied that the people prefer to live nearby the riverside. They are always preferring to live where the water is easily available. And the basic necessity of human life is what? It is water. and it is required for various important activities such as agriculture, business, and so on. All these things he understood when the aeroplane reached 10,000 feet. When the jet rose 6 miles high, it was clear the earth was round and that it had more sea than land. But it was difficult to understand that the men on the earth found causes to hate each other, to build walls across cities, and to kill from the height. It was not clear why. In the last stanza, we have seen what the poet thought when the jet was 10,000 feet above the earth, above the ground. And now we can see when the plane reached the height of 6 miles. Now it is 6 miles away, and that time the earth looked round in shape. And the poet found that the earth has more water than land. We all know it is having more water than land. And he understood the reason because the earth has more number of seas than land. So while he was 6 miles away from the ground, he understood that there are more number of seas than lands. And however, one thing the poet could not figure out was that why the people on the earth hate each other. Because he had seen the people have built walls of hate across the cities to kill each other. So when he was about 6 miles, he came to understand that the people had built walls of hate across the cities to kill each other, and the poet is unable to understand why the people created a boundary walls among themselves. So the moral of this poem is that the poet actually displays the poet's concern for the division and friction among the people. And the poet begins with saying the city from the jet, and he says that from that height everything seems too small and he can see the full city properly. And he also finds that the city is not properly planned and disorganized, and it is not having any particular style. And when the jet reached the height of 10,000 feet, he could see the cities were located near the rivers or water resources. And he realizes that the availability of water resources is the reason behind the unorganized cities. Because he understands that the fertile land and water are the key to human existence. And lastly, he thinks why the people on earth built walls, boundaries, and fences. And the poet says that the human beings have a lot of knowledge about earth. It shapes the emergence of civilization, cities, and nation, but still they are just thinking about how to make a friction among everyone. And at last we can understand that the poet actually wants to say that we should use natural resources like land and water very wisely, and we shall live together in this earth with harmony and not fight with each other. And in this way, we can make our earth a beautiful place to live in. So I hope you understood the meaning of this poem. And in the next session, I will be explaining the poetic devices used in this poem. Hope you enjoyed watching this video, and catch you next day. Thank you for watching.